begin.
What's up, nation? Welcome to another edition of the Wise Take MLB First Look. CK013 here. You can find me on Twitter at CK_013. And we have a massive Tuesday slate. 15 games coming off the 8-gamer of madness on Monday. There's a little bit of everything, or a lot of bit of everything. There's a ton of good pitching, a ton of good offenses, pretty much at every price level. It's one of those slates where you're gonna want to take a stand, even if you do MME. Like, it seems like a good MME slate, but even with MME, you're not gonna be able to cover everything. So at some point, you're gonna have to take some stands, maybe leave some things out. We always recommend, if you're not like an MME type of player, to play in smaller fields, just so like not everything is covered, and giving you a better opportunity to kind of survive on these big slates. The good thing is there are going to be a lot of different ways to go. You'll be able to build teams comfortably depending on what you like. The bad thing, of course, is actually narrowing those teams down and those pitchers down and actually being able to take a stand on something. I personally like to core it up when I do teams. I typically do anywhere from 3 to 5 teams. Some days will MME, but only when it calls for it. And on this particular slate, again, I'm looking for smaller fields to play in. I'll play the donkey, of course, but I'm looking for smaller fields to play in, and I'm going to somehow try to make a core work, try to fall in love with some of these options, but the initial first look, it's going to be tough. Starting with cash games, Kershaw does seem like just the way to go. Coming off a really good outing against St. Louis, now he gets Miami in Miami. He's 11-8, so he is expensive. We've seen people talk about him maybe not having the ceiling that he used to have, but we've seen out of his last 4 starts, he's gone over 30 twice. Will that be enough at 11-8? I don't know. There probably are other pitchers who may beat him on a point per dollar level. But in cash games, I think he does seem like the most secure. I think you go there. Again, there's a lot to like at every level. You can make the same argument for guys like Brendan McKay against the Padres at 8-1, who would have been the cash game chalk on Monday night, but he got pushed back a day. You've got Greinke, who would have been Sunday night's another option for a potential. Once McKay was ruled out, Greinke became the clear-cut cash option. But again, these guys are all going to kind of get more lost in the shuffle. I do think on FanDuel, you could consider playing a McKay or something like that there, because you only have one pitcher and there is cores on this slate. There are a lot of good offenses. But on the other side, if you don't feel as confident about these other pitchers, you can just go ahead and grab Kershaw, and you can find cheap enough stacks to work. There's just that many offenses. But for DraftKings and cash games, I think Kershaw, you just kind of make it work. There are a lot of interesting cheap options, as we mentioned. So we do have Kikuchi against Detroit. Kikuchi has been awful, but he did do well against the Padres, which is a big plus for Brendan McKay. But last time he saw Detroit, he put up 14, which I think you'd gladly take at 5-3 from this guy because of how bad he's been. I think maybe more of a tournament option, but I think Punani, as we like to call him at the Wise Take Nation, is also in play. Coming off a terrible outing, but that was against the Yankees. This is against the Rangers, who have struggled against lefties. I will say they haven't been as bad against lefties lately. Not in terms of ISO or whatever, but in strikeouts. Normally they strike out a ton against lefties. Lately, that hasn't been the case. So those are options if you are trying to get cores or just expensive bats in general that you could look at. Coming up the list, Max Fried kind of stands out. 6'7", a little more expensive, but he is a good pitcher. He's got good stuff. He gets the Mets. Pretty big game, more so for the Mets, I think. But 6,700 for Max Fried, and he seems to be in good form. Just seems like a pretty good deal. So again, there's not like it's not like clear-cut options. If this was a smaller slate, maybe you go Kershaw, McKay if you wanted to spend up, and that'll probably be contrarian tomorrow, I think. But again, you could, if you wanted to go up for pitching. It's not going to leave you with a ton of salary, but again, like, there's so many bats that you'll be able to find them all over the place in all kinds of price ranges. For this example, I would probably go, I think Fried seems like one of the safer bets at his price, coming off an awesome outing. But for this example, I think I like in tournaments, I kind of like Punani. I really do. But that could also become kind of trendy and chalky. I guess we'll go on the conservative side and go with Fried, who I believe, like, I don't think Punani is a great pitcher. I think Fried is actually a really good pitcher. So we can do that for this example. From a tournament perspective, you can really load up. So we've got, like, Clevenger's not going to have any ownership against Boston for good reason. Tough to strike out. Same thing with Chris Sale. Chris Sale coming off an awesome outing against the Angels, but probably won't be too popular because he has a tough matchup against the Indians. I think both of those guys from a tournament perspective are interesting, but it's kind of hard to go there when you do have, like, McKay at 8,100. He was supposed to be 87, and now he's 81, going up against the Padres. So from a tournament perspective, McKay does stand out, and if you do grab him and Punani, you have enough to really get whatever bats you want. You are sacrificing some upside. Punani, and yes, I know his name is Pannoni, whatever, but Punani just sounds better to us. But if you do go this route, you're sacrificing some upside. We haven't really seen McKay do a ton. He was on his way against Toronto and eventually gave up 2 homers, 3 earned, and it kind of knocked his score down. Still a respectable score, but if you have some of these pitchers who have potentials to put up 30s, you may not keep up with the McKay unless you get the bats right, which is the whole point. So that's the thing about this slate, is you got a ton of freedom. You can elect to invest your money into pitching or invest your money into the bats, or you can find like a middle ground and kind of do both. There's that many options. But McKay does seem to make the most sense if you want to load up on bats, which has kind of been the winning trend lately. I'm starting to think maybe it'll be contrarian to pay up for pitcher tomorrow to do like a Kershaw McKay type of build. Not necessarily with those two pitchers, but that type of build. But there's a lot. We got a lot of different pitchers to pick from. Again, at every tier, we've got options. So if you were to go like a McKay, Pannoni, whatever, you can really load up. Now, in cores, we have some good pitchers, John Gray and Gallen. And because the slate's so big, I get the feeling that the ownership may not be as strong. Maybe the D-backs get some love, but I don't think a ton of people are looking to pick on Gallen. Gallen's been nasty. He has been really awesome. I can't believe Miami traded him. There's got to be something we don't know about. I don't know. But if you did want to go the cores route, you could see how expensive they are. Another reason that their ownership may be lower, there's just other guys who are cheaper. I do prefer the Arizona Diamondbacks side because Gray has been vulnerable in cores most of the season. And kind of just coming through this list, I think you could make a decent team work. But you can see just from this example, we have a lot of ways to go. Going through some of these other offenses, I do think we'll pull up the pitching and kind of look at the bottom, but Sparkman has been pretty awful. The Cardinals haven't been great either, and he has seen 3 tough teams in a row in Cleveland twice and Minnesota. But St. Louis has also been decent. They won me some money Sunday, so I'm all go. If you're not playing Kikuchi, you could look at the Tigers as a value stack to pick on him. He has been pretty bad for the most part. Martin Perez has been extremely home run prone. This is an interesting matchup. He's given up, you can see here, 3 home runs, 1 home run, 3 and 3. He's going to be in Milwaukee, a small park. But the problem is the Brewers' offense has been struggling, but I do think he is worth a look. I don't think Minnesota's bullpen is very good either. So Milwaukee is another offense that I think we can look at. Assuming they have Christian Yelich back, which we don't know, their team just seems to have a totally different look. Looks like they are expecting Yelich back, so that's definitely a positive for them. Was nursing like a back injury or something. And here's an example of an offense that's just not that bad. I mean, Hiora's 5K, Braun is 4.7, but Moose is only 4.4, and from there it kind of drops. Grandal 4.2, Kane 4.3. You got Grisham, I know it's lefty on lefty, but if you're playing the stack, you don't want to focus too much on that, because at some point, if your stack works, that starting pitcher's coming out, and you're going to see a bunch of righties anyway to the bullpen. So I do think the Brewers are interesting. Should be very low owned, and again, Perez has been one of the more home run pitchers in baseball lately, so they're an offense we got to keep an eye on. Houston is going to be virtually unowned, I believe, against C's. It's not the best matchup in the world, but he has given up a lot of hard contact to righties. It's a good park, bad bullpen, all the boxes being checked there. And that's just like a few, dude. I mean, we got Means against the Yankees, who I believe, I want to say he got beat up by the Yankees recently. Let's take a look. I think he started off doing well. Yeah, okay, started off doing well. For the first couple innings, I guess, and then got tattooed a little bit. Has not been very good. So, again, like, this is just something, just throwing out some examples of ways you can go, and you can see there's a lot of different ways to pick from. I think on this type of slate, I would either find your priority. If your priority is Coors or Houston or some expensive stack, then build it backwards. Prioritize the bats you want, see what you have left for pitching. If your priority is the pitchers because you're in love with Kershaw or whatever other pitcher there is, go ahead and lock those pitchers in and then start looking at some of the stacks that are affordable and you're going to be able to make work. But you're going to have to take a stand. That's just how this works. Again, even with MMEs, you can either throw a bunch of random darts and hope it sticks, or have yourself a little core somehow, whether it be pitching or just a line of expensive bats or a line of value bats with expensive pitching. One or the other, you're going to have to do something to take a stand. And again, try to play in smaller fields if you're not doing mass multi-entry. So that's kind of where we're at. There's a lot on this slate. There's tons I didn't cover that, we can spend literally hours doing this. I'm not going to do that, obviously, but there's a ton to like. Didn't even go into Boyd. This is a good matchup for Boyd. Also an interesting spot for Seattle, who does hit a lot of home runs. Boyd has been very home run prone as well lately. A lot of different ways to go. A lot going on here. So, do thy dirty, take your stand, all that good stuff. If you need some help, come check us out at wisec.com. Get yourself a day pass, $2.50, all it costs to get in for 1 day. You'll get access to all the MLB content. Only thing you don't get access to is our Slack chat, which I highly recommend. After you get the day pass, try it out. I highly recommend you do check out our monthly options for monthly memberships or season passes. Anything higher than a monthly membership, monthly pass or higher, I should say, you will get access to the Slack chat, where you can meet up with the rest of the Wise Take Nation, the core members of the Wise Take Nation, and of course the analysts as they chop up the slates, and try to help each other out. We are a DFS community, a DFS premium content provider, and we can help you become a better DFS player. If you're new to it, you don't understand how it goes, or even if you're experienced and you're just struggling and you're just looking for people to bounce ideas off of and theories and different strategies, we're the place you need to be. We've got members winning all the time, man. Our analysts are doing well. Our members are doing well. It's just a great time to be a part of the nation. And it's a great time for DFS in general. We do have NFL season coming up very shortly, and you can currently get yourself a discount on the NFL season pass. The normal price, come week 1, the price will be $149.99, but you can get it right now for $99.99 for the full NFL season, all the content, the Slack chat, everything for NFL. If you use promo code EarlyOwlNFL 2019. No spaces, Early Owl NFL 2019, and you will get $50 off the season pass. That sale is good until September 1st. At that point, we have a week before the season. We may do one more sale. It won't be this cheap. We may do one more sale just to give people one last chance to kind of get in there, but I do recommend you guys take advantage of the full discount and hop up in there now. Anyway, top 3 pitchers. I think Clayton Kershaw is my top spend up. McKay is my mid-tier guy. And it's close between Fried and Panani. I'm going to go with Panani because I just like the price. I'm a little worried about that, but I'll go with him because I like the price. Again, I think Fried would be my 4th option. As far as stacks go, I do like Coors. I like the Arizona side a little bit more. I like Milwaukee. They're kind of growing on me because of the Perez deal. I know they've been struggling. We want to look into that, but I am kind of digging it. And then I think there's just so many different ways you can go. It's just insane. But I think we will go with St. Louis for now. Go with St. Louis. Goldschmidt's been red hot. Kind of like what I'm seeing. And I think Sparkman's terrible. And I think he's got more regression coming. But again, guys, this list, I can give you 10 offenses right now. It's just insane. As far as the Dong Watch, who's going deep? I'm going with Christian Yelich out the gate. Let's go with... I'm going to take another expensive guy. I'm going to go Ketel Marte. I got a thing for that dude, even though he's been disappointing me lately. We're going to do that. And then, let's see. Find ourselves a little cheaper guy. Doesn't have to be dirt cheap, but maybe somebody a little bit cheaper. Oh, I got one. We'll go with Goldschmidt. Right, against Sparkman. Why not? Goldie, where are you? 4-4. Expensive, guys. But again, come rock with us at wisec.com. Find out what we're on after our guys have done their research. This show, obviously, just a first look, sharing my initial thoughts with you all, and I appreciate y'all watching. With that said, please click the thumbs up, the like button, and subscribe to our channel. Hit the notifications bell so you do not miss out on any of the content we do, DFS or just sports or entertainment related. We do have a show we're doing once a week, maybe even twice a week at some point, called the Wise Take Nation podcast, where we do discuss, mostly sports, but sports, entertainment, gambling, all that kind of stuff. Make sure you check that out. And of course, Monday through Friday, we will be breaking out these, first look breakdowns. So appreciate you rocking with me. NFL's coming, then basketball's, and the next thing you know, we're just rolling. So it's a great time to be playing DFS. Come join the nation. For myself and the entire Wise Take Nation, as always, good luck.
Yes.